Elon Musk's Twitter takeover may not happen. We don't know. The deal's on hold. Elon Musk says he wants Twitter to prove that less than 5% of its users are bots, because that's what they've claimed. And so far, they've refused to do it. Now, many on the left who don't want Elon Musk to be able to buy Twitter are arguing that this is it. Elon Musk is trying to pull out. The deal is screwed. And Twitter has now come out and said, we will enforce this deal. I find it kind of funny. It's basically Elon Musk has turned the tables on Twitter. A lot of people are saying Twitter has turned the tables on Musk. It's like, no. Elon Musk was doing a hostile takeover. And that, well, I guess you can call it a hostile takeover. He was trying to buy out the company and they didn't want it. And now he's got Twitter going, you better buy us, Elon Musk. He's like, oh, I guess. But with them wanting to enforce the deal, it means Elon may be able to negotiate a lower price. And I think many people who just hate Elon Musk for tribal reasons can't see what's happening right before them. Elon Musk has now responded to two different stories from Project Veritas. The first, it is an engineer saying they're commie as F. Yesterday, we got this breaking story where lead client partner at Twitter, Alex Martinez, says that they're going to say it's the ideology that's that is the reason why they're not profitable. He says they don't believe in free speech. The people who work there believe in something bigger and they want to change the world or something like that. That messaging is more important than a functioning business. Now we've got a new filing, a new story that shines a light on what may be happening. Elon Musk apparently talked to Jack Dorsey and asked him to stay on. Jack said no. Jack told Elon the company needs to go private. So Elon said, I am not joining the board. I'm buying you out. The company resisted, tried to stop it. Now it's flipped. This is all really weird. I want to make one point. As I break down the master stroke that is Elon Musk's moves. No guarantee he wins. I think he will win. And I think for some reason, people on the left, the tribe, the left tribe, for whatever reason, they just have to align themselves with one frame of thinking, regardless of facts. So we had a progressive guy on the show on IRL. And before the show, we were talking a little bit about Elon Musk. And he said, yeah, well, Elon's screwed because he's going to have to pay $1 billion now. And I was like, no, he won't. And he was like, well, it's in the contract. And I was like, and? It's really fascinating. I mean, I've learned a lot of really important lessons over my 10 years working in, man, it's been that long, huh? Just 10 years working in the media industry. But, before this, I mostly did smaller, more typical jobs. But when you get in high stakes media, areas that have consequence in the political space, you really start to see what it means to have a contract. And that contract means diddly. They're all coming out and they're like, Elon Musk got a contract, he's going to lose $1 billion. No. Okay, yes. All right, I'm not trying to say it's not the case that there's $1 billion on the line. If Twitter backs out of the deal, they got to pay Elon Musk $1 billion. If he backs out, he's got to pay them $1 billion. But I think Elon knows what he's doing. And I'll put it this way. It is an insurance policy for both groups. Elon has an out. So when I say Elon's not going to have to pay this money, initially, when you see this deal, it's like, oh, there we go. Either they do the deal or they lose the $1 billion. He's got them in a vice. Now, Elon's playing games for whatever reason, saying, what's up with these bots? Many people on the left, because they just choose to, I think they only hate Elon because they're on the left, which makes no sense because he's like the green energy guy who's doing the most to end climate change. But sure, whatever. They have to hate him. He's also rich. These Project Veritas videos may have just saved Elon Musk billions of dollars. When it comes to contracts, they're valuable. You should have them, but they're only enforceable against people who can, who don't want to face judgment. In this instance, does Twitter or Elon want to actually go into war, lawfare, for years to determine who is right or wrong? The answer is no. If Twitter backed out and just abruptly said, we're not going to sell, okay, then Elon's probably going to win very quickly. If Elon right now says, you know what, I'm not buying, then Twitter would probably win very quickly. But variables have been introduced. New videos have emerged showing that the people at Twitter don't work. One guy said he worked like 4 hours last quarter, I guess. I thought he was saying per week, but apparently someone said he only worked 4 hours last quarter. Maybe I missed that one. Maybe I got that one wrong. And if that's the case, what Elon Musk is now seeing is that ideology drives the company. Did they disclose that? That they're not profitable. Did they disclose that? That employees are saying in this video, this guy, Alex Martinez, disparages Elon Musk for having Asperger's, saying that he's special or, suffering from some kind of, disability of sorts. I mean, we can actually just jump to, what does he say? If I'm like, you're Elon Musk's special needs, you're literally special needs. So I can't even take what you're saying seriously. Interesting. That plays a role. Now, there's an argument. Does any of these statements from these Twitter employees have any merit in a legal argument? Maybe not, but he can still argue them. And that's going to make this a protracted legal battle that I don't know if either side would want to be involved in. Elon Musk's response was, Twitter executive trashing free speech and mocking people with Asperger's. Elon can take these two videos and he can craft an argument that Twitter is not disclosing everything they were required to disclose to him, and thus the contract, they are in violation. Look, you can sue a ham sandwich. It doesn't mean you're going to win. It's possible Elon could argue that Twitter's in breach and they owe him $1 billion. I don't know for sure. Elon is calling them out because a new report has come out saying half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake. Audit reveals. Elon says, interesting. So that would be like 10 times more than 5%. The fascinating thing is, he then responds, or 14 times higher than Twitter's 5% in my case. Because I think this report actually, I think we can pull it up, goes on to say that Elon Musk has more fake followers. But let me make sure I have the number right. SparkToro's tool found that 49.3% of the accounts following at POTUS are fake followers. This is obvious. It doesn't mean the entirety of the platform. When someone creates a bot account, what they want to do is they want to follow prominent figures to make the bot look like it's actually engaging, like following people. The president of the United States is an obvious one. That's the @POTUS account, which I believe was held by Donald Trump as well. And but I think they reset the followers. I'm not sure. So bots sign up, or people create bots, and then they auto follow, POTUS. So they go and give some context, blah, blah, blah. Musk, the world's richest man, claimed 20% of Twitter accounts were fake or spam, 4 times what Twitter claims to be true. It is not clear how Musk arrived at the 20% figure. We suspend over 500,000 accounts, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so somewhere here they did mention, here we go. Musk's account has more than 93.3 million followers. SparkToro found that 70% of those accounts are fake. Now that's where it's interesting. 70%. Wow. So Elon Musk only has like 25 million followers and the rest are fake? That's crazy. So Musk then responds basically. He says 14 times higher in his case than Twitter's 5% bias. Pranay Patel says Twitter needs to provide much more clarity as to how they're calculating more than 95% of legit users on the platform. Absolutely. Dr. Crypto says go to POTUS or Joe Biden. Click followers, scroll down about 2 pages, then start hovering over accounts. What you'll see, no profile pic and or 0 followers. They are fake. Interesting. POTUS, huh? Has anybody tagged the POTUS account? I don't think they actually tagged Joe Biden. Some people actually started pulling up videos or made videos where they go through Joe Biden's followers and all of them are just weird, generic, empty profiles with no tweets, no followers, no following, nothing. Seem fake. Here's the issue. If they're not tweeting, then they're not playing a role in the active user environment. In which case, if Twitter is saying of our active users, 5% are bots, perhaps what Elon is saying of all users. That's the question. When they say that half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are fake, how many of those Twitter followers are active? How many accounts have signed up on Twitter and done nothing because they're inactive and they're real people or they're bots, but they don't do anything? So Elon Musk may be having a conversation, and we're kind of missing the point here. When Parag Agrawal talked about the bots, he said calculating MDAUs, I think it's called daily active users or something, or daily active users by month. I don't know what the number actually means, but it means active users. If he's talking about active users and Elon Musk is talking about all users, you're arguing apples to oranges. Now, either way, I agree that they should reveal how they came to that conclusion publicly. Elon Musk says they're not doing it. And why not? You don't have to reveal the personal information. You can show the formula. You can show, here's how we did it. I think the issue is that that the CEO of Twitter is obviously lying. That's my opinion. I do not believe he's being honest. And I think it's because people did bad things and the SEC probably should investigate because they're defraud. I think Elon Musk found fraud. I'm not saying I know for a fact. I'm not saying it's greater than probability or definitively true. I'm saying I think there's a strong possibility that's the case. We now have this from Axios. Twitter turns the tables on Musk, will enforce the merger. Are you kidding? They didn't turn the tables on him. He got them to now beg him to buy them. Ridiculous. The board and Mr. Musk agreed to a transaction at $54.20 per share. Twitter's board said in a statement, "We believe this arrangement is in the best interest of all shareholders. We intend to close the transaction and enforce the merger agreement." And so Elon Musk is roughing him up a little bit. Maybe they'll have to negotiate a lower price if they want to enforce this deal. He can argue that they didn't properly disclose. He can argue off of the Veritas videos they didn't properly disclose. And then there's going to be a protracted legal battle nobody wants to get into. In which case, Twitter is in trouble. Their stock is going down. And that's bad for Elon too. Could be good for you. I don't know. No financial advice. Right now, I think Twitter's trading at around $38. If my understanding is that if, for me, because I have I think 11 shares. If I were to sell now, I'm at $38. But if the deal goes through, I get $54.20. I'll take the Elon deal. If Elon renegotiates, I guess I still end up making more money, because it's gonna go up in price. So I don't see this as being a done deal. I don't see it as being over, and I don't see it as turning the tables. But there is some insight into what's going on behind the scenes, and it seems Jack Dorsey played a role in everything that's happening. New filing reveals the full story behind Musk's bid to buy Twitter. They say in a new filing with the SEC, it sheds lights on Twitter's board early conversations with the billionaire. Tuesday's filing reveals a timeline of conversations from Twitter's perspective in the lead up to the deal. Beginning on March 26, when Musk reached out to former CEO Jack Dorsey to discuss the future direction of social media, that same day Musk also reached out to Twitter board member Egon Durbin, and the two discussed the possibility of Musk joining the board. The following day, Musk spoke with Twitter board chair Brett Taylor and CEO Parag Agrawal about his interest in Twitter, saying he was considering joining the board, trying to take Twitter private, or starting a competitor. After meetings between the board members with Musk that included lawyers and bankers, they reached an agreement on Musk joining the board in early April, contingent on a background check. On April 4th, Musk reached out to Dorsey about his perspective. Dorsey told Musk he personally believes Twitter would be better equipped to focus on execution as a private company. According to the filing, Musk asked if Dorsey would stay on the board even though he had already been set to leave. Dorsey declined. Soon after, the board completed Musk's background check, and his appointment to the board was set to go into effect April 9th. Leading up to that date, Musk and Agrawal continued discussing Twitter's business and products in anticipation of his new role on the board. But before the appointment came into effect, Musk told Taylor and Agrawal he would no longer be joining the board and would instead make an offer to take Twitter private. That set off a frenzied few weeks where Musk made what he called his best and final offer. The board later adopted a poison pill shareholder rights plan to prevent Musk from moving forward. But he then floated the idea of a tender offer appealing to shareholders. In the deliberations over the bid, the filing reveals Twitter's board considered its historical challenges in growing the business and also determined it was unlikely other potential acquirers would be interested or able to buy Twitter based on regulatory, financial, or execution risks. They also considered that Musk could start an unsolicited takeover and that Musk's first offer was likely the best value that Twitter could reasonably obtain from him. I'll tell you what I see happening. Twitter needs to just clean house. They should give everybody a political perspectives test, a corporate values test is a better way to put it, and then fire everyone who does not fall in line with the proper values that would help this business grow. Twitter. I believe it was like the second big social network. I know we had LiveJournal, Friendster, MySpace, Facebook, but Facebook and Twitter were dominant. What happened, Twitter? What happened? I'll tell you what happened. Jack Dorsey is a terrible leader. I don't think Jack's all that bad. I just don't trust the guy. But this is all Jack Dorsey's doing. He was blind to the problems. He swam in his own refuse. They hired psychotic individuals. And now you have this revelation from Veritas where a guy's like only working 4 hours this past quarter or whatever. 4 hours. They mill about, they do nothing, and they extract the money from the company. Money that could be put to better use in growing the business. They had Vine. They shut that down. Morons. Terrible leaders. Elon needs to come in and clean this up. In the meantime, we're stagnant. We don't know what's going to happen. And if this deal doesn't go through, Twitter is a doomed platform. Gen Z doesn't want to use it. Young people don't want to use it. They don't want to use Facebook. They're using Instagram and TikTok. Facebook bought Instagram. It was a clever move because young people are on Instagram. Twitter, with as much influence and power as it has, should be dominant. But for some reason, it is not. Elon Musk recently, I think this is he said interesting in a post responding to this is the old tweet. He tweeted interesting and then said 10 times more fake accounts. Elon Musk calling out the Asperger's. So let's talk about that. This is another component that I didn't get into all that much. I didn't mention in the beginning. I wonder if there's disparagement in Twitter's contract if this is a Twitter employee. Remember, they said that Elon Musk could not speak about the merger and disparage Twitter. I'd have to check the filing, but you have Elon Musk pointing out a Twitter executive, if this guy is an executive, publicly disparaging Elon Musk, calling him special needs in relation to the merger. Employees speaking out about it. I'm sure any deal would be only about the Twitter board. However, let's throw it back. If Twitter's Alex Martinez says Musk has literally special needs, and he is someone who is prominent within the company, look, it's not as clear-cut as most people think. It's not going to be Twitter is going to force Elon to buy it. Elon's going to dive out. It's hard to know for sure. I do think the big thing that's coming out of this story with Elon was that he's said Joe Biden isn't the president. Whoever controls the prompter is. That Elon Musk says he's going to be voting Republican. This is a big shift, regardless of whether he buys Twitter or not. I think he's got to do it. I think we need the public town hall back. I think we need someone to fix this platform. I think there's tremendous potential here. I also think Elon Musk doesn't entirely know exactly what he's getting himself into. I really do think so. Look, we may dislike the opinions of these Twitter employees, but they're not all completely wrong. When they say things like, we have a problem with disinformation. Well, yeah, you do. And how do you deal with that? I'm of the opinion, freedom. And that's about it. And that means some people might spread disinformation and it might catch on. But the challenge is when you manipulate, people are unwilling to listen because they know you're liars. So let's take a look at any wild claim that goes viral on Twitter. The earth is flat, they scream. Okay. If you go to these people and tell them they're spreading dangerous disinformation and they're liars, are they more likely to believe you? No. They're more likely to believe you're their enemy. You can't approach people as an enemy. You need to say, all right, dude, you think the earth is flat. Tell me why. I'm listening. And then when they say these, and these things, you ask them questions about their ideas and you point things out. You show them counter evidence. What happens? Either they're finally willing to just come around and be like, okay, maybe I was wrong about that. Many have. Or they'll double down. But either way, when we have, like I mentioned, we had a progressive podcaster on the show on Monday. And I asked him questions. There were only a few instances where I outright was like, I will not stand with you. I will stand against you. And that was after we already asked him these questions and he didn't answer them. I'll say something simple like, do you think, we should have abortion at 9 months? And he says, it's the woman's choice. I say, okay, but what about the baby? After a certain amount of time, you realize these people can't be argued with because they don't know what they're talking about and they have nothing to say other than, look, my identity is that I agree with whatever they say regardless and without reason. Okay, I guess you can't argue with that. How do you then convince these people? Interaction with them. You bring them out, you have conversations, you show them news, and eventually they'll start seeing other information and asking questions. We had another liberal guy on the show, Jamie Kilstein, the other day. Now, he's not, ultra woke because he's seen some stuff and he's been canceled. And so he's had kind of a wake up call. And he was saying the other day that he's mostly pro-choice, but Seamus, who's pro-life, made a bunch of really, really good arguments that made him think about what his position really is and what that means. And I'm like, well, exactly. When, a month ago, I was talking to Seamus, and on the show, I said, abortion is not just the idea that you're killing the baby. It's the termination of the pregnancy. And Seamus says, no, it's not. And so we had an argument. I was wrong. The legal definition, according to the CDC, is terminating a pregnancy that does not result in a live birth, meaning in instances where a woman makes an elective abortion in past viability, the baby would be killed in the process. Or in the instance where a mother, if the pregnancy would harm the mother, then you would kill the baby in the process. And then I simply said, oh, Seamus was right. If the mother's health is at risk and you need to remove the baby, why kill it? Now, there are certain circumstances, I understand, where they can't induce labor. There are certain circumstances where maybe a C-section is not possible. Great. So you wouldn't need to say in that provision, all efforts to save the life of the baby must be made. And you cannot, there's got to be more strict criteria. But regardless of any of that, when this guy said he was in favor of elective abortions at 9 months, I'm like, we're clearly at odds. We need to have on Twitter people interacting with each other. Now, Twitter is a rage machine. Twitter creates tribal rage where people are unwilling to listen to each other. And that's why Timcast IRL does not do digital conversations. The internet is not good for this. You need face-to-face conversations. I don't know if Elon Musk understands that challenge. But I would add to this. Twitter's idea of manipulating people to control them makes things worse. It's not solving the problem. So it's like they recognize the problem with the rage machine and they're like, let's make the rage machine stronger. And I'm like, that's not ending the rage machine. You're making it worse. I'd like to see free speech on the platform. I'd like to see people say whatever they want to say. And then I'll quote, tweet and say, wrong. Not like it's perfect. But we'll see how this plays out. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.